most entrepreneurs get stuck inside of a jail cell that they created for themselves. So if you're an entrepreneur, do you ever feel like you're just running on this never-ending hamster wheel? You're trying to grow the business, but it's just not going where you want. If so, this video is for you. My name's Tyler. I own a company called ScaleOps, and we help businesses to grow faster. We've helped hundreds of different businesses all over the US to fix problems inside of their companies. And I've myself grown a few different seven-figure businesses. So I have a little bit of experience with this. I've seen a lot at this point, and I'd love the chance to get to help you. So in this video, we're going to cover a few different things that business owners get stuck on. And so the first idea that I really want you to understand is the fact that productive and busy are two different things. So busy does not equal productive. So you may be working on lots of things inside your company, but if they're not moving the needle forward, then it doesn't really matter. And so one thing you can think about is busy is activity. You have activity going on day to day, but productive equals progress. And so this means that you are moving the business forward. Your sales are going up, stress is going down. Something along the lines is working to make you feel like there's progress inside the company. And I understand you're never going to completely alleviate busy work. You've got to answer your employees and make sure they feel heard. You've got to handle client requests that come in, no matter how many times you've explained them, but you can continue to improve and build processes so these things get less and less over time. And so if you are busy but not productive, that just means that you don't have an adequate system to handle things. And so what we're going to do is handle a few different pieces that if you understand will help you inside your business. And the first of which, the reason most entrepreneurs get stuck is they don't know their numbers. So this a lot of times means that you don't understand the back office of profitability, et cetera. What is profitable inside of your company? What's potentially losing you money that you're still spending time on? What are tasks you could remove, et cetera? I'm going to cover an example that a lot of people talk about, and there's a lot of thoughts online about. So let's go over the math of growing a business. And for the sake of this example, we're going to do a business to business company. So you sell something to commercial clients. So when I started out, I was selling commercial insurance. And I'm going to take you through the math of this process. So I was calling businesses to find out when their business insurance expired. And we called this our X date. So I would get an X date on 1 out of 10 calls. So that is 10% of calls. So I called roughly 2,000 businesses and I got a list of 200 X dates. It was a little bit higher. I got better over time, but we're going to stick with 10% just for easy math. So once I had this list of businesses, I had roughly 100 businesses every single month that renewed their insurance. And so 60 to 90 days before their renewal, I would call them to book an appointment so that I could chat with them about their commercial insurance. And so we called this a DAQ, a diagnostic appointment questionnaire. I learned this from a sales school I went to. So again, we're going to do 1 out of 10 goes to a DAQ. So 10%. So if you do this math on 1% of calls, or 1% of businesses I spoke to led to an appointment. So basically, that means I would need 100 calls to book one appointment. All right. That doesn't sound that crazy if you're going after big accounts. And so let's say that I had a 33% close ratio, means that I need to make 300 calls to get one client. All right. So on the clients that I was selling to, let's say that they were an average of 20,000 per year in premium. So I was selling commercial insurance. So 20,000 per year in premium means that I would make roughly 3,000 in commissions. So 15%. So 15% commissions comes out to $3,000 per year that I would make on that account. So 3K in commissions for every 300 calls means that I made $10 per every call that I made. All right, because I had to make 300 calls to make that $3,000. So if I could just pay somebody, and when I paid them, if it was less than $10 per call, that's profitable for me. So this is a scenario you can take your whole business through. But if you see the business through this lens, you're going to start to see how you can scale much faster. And so that's exactly what I did. I went on freelancer.com and I found some cheap cold callers from Pakistan. They sounded terrible. But what I found is, yes, the numbers dropped a little bit, but I wasn't having to make the phone calls. So they were still calling through businesses. And I think their numbers dropped to, they got an X date on roughly 8% of their calls. And then they were able to book an appointment on roughly 5% of their calls. But still, even with them less efficient than I was, the math still worked. I could pay these guys to go make calls. I could double my appointments. And so my time more than doubled in my hourly rate. So if you're able to alleviate $10 per hour tasks, your time just got more valuable. So in the knowing your numbers phase, yes, this works for the back end on productivity, but it works for growing the business as well. And this is massively important to scale. And this kind of leads us into our second piece, which is leverage. So again, $10 per hour tasks, but if you have $100 per hour skill set, then there is a disconnect there. Those things don't line up. So if you're doing $10 an hour tasks, this could be answering emails, this could be making cold calls, etc. You need to get that crap off of your plate. Yes, I understand it has to be done in the business. In order to grow, you have to take care of any client request that comes in. It just doesn't mean it has to be done by you. As a business owner, you don't want to be the sole operator. If you are working 40 hours a week or 80 hours a week, God forbid, then you have built yourself a jail cell. You are stuck. You can't grow this business. You're not a CEO. And so we want to help you build leverage so you're getting out of situations like that. Another piece that I constantly see, and this is probably going to ring home for a lot of people, is you feel reactive. So anytime a client request comes in, it's an urgent matter and has to be handled right now. If that's the case, if everything is urgent, that means nothing is prioritized. And so if nothing's prioritized, you don't know what's most important. And so you need to get proactive rather than reactive. So I understand that there's going to be fires that come up throughout the day and there's nothing you can do about it. But you can plan for things. So, for example, my background was the insurance industry. So I knew that I was going to have claims requests or claims that came into the agency that I needed to file. So I built processes around these and then trained somebody that could handle them for me. So rather than me having to be reactive every time a client called in with a claim, I was proactive and I planned ahead. I knew exactly what every step of the process was. So I built automations, for example. So anytime we filed the claim with the insurance carrier, I had an automated text that would go out to my clients 2 days later. It made it look like I was really on top of the ball. And maybe I was, I planned for it. But 2 days later, the text would go out, "Hey, first name, I just wanted to check in and see, has the adjuster reached out to you yet? Is the claim rolling? Is there anything I can help with? Let me know. Hope you have a great day." And so by doing this, it made my clients feel like I was taking great care of them because their past agent never handled their claims. And I planned ahead. So by being proactive, I removed some extra work from my plate. and made a world of difference. And so that is a huge piece of being able to grow your business. And so the fourth and final piece that I want to talk about today is clear roles. So, as a CEO, you need to know exactly what you're working on. So, inside a small business, you're going to wear a lot of different hats. So, you are the CEO, you are making all the executive decisions inside the company. You're the COO, you are running day to day operations. But under that, there's other pieces you handle. So, you're a sales manager and a salesperson. You handle finance, you handle HR, you handle, let's say, production or whatever it is that you produce, whatever widget your company makes or service that you deliver, you're handling all of these different pieces. So, what I would recommend is make an organizational chart that looks like this and go ahead and start planning for the future. Write job descriptions and tasks that each one of these roles does. Anytime you're working inside of one of these roles, type out exactly what you're doing or just hit record on Loom on your computer and record yourself do the task. And I would venture to guess that at the end of a few weeks, you will have built a training process for whatever that role is. And so by having these clear roles, you can identify, all right, which of these is stealing the most of my time? That's how you have to think about it. It is stealing time from you and your business because if you're working inside HR, that means you're not working inside sales or business development. So you're not growing the company. And that is not the highest and best use of your time. So HR is stealing from the company. So you need to hire somebody that can handle that. Or you need to hire somebody that can handle your bookkeeping inside the finance piece. That is a simple task that can be offloaded. That, let's be honest, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably don't like handling the books. So get somebody else to do it. That makes you way happier inside the company and makes you way more productive. And so there's lots of different pieces you can be doing inside your day to day that you can delegate away. So a nice little matrix you can think about is what are tasks that I enjoy to do and what are tasks that I'm really good at doing. So we'll do good at, bad at, enjoy, don't, and make a little matrix here. And so, what you're going to do is you probably need to hire an expert here. If there's a task you're not good at and you don't enjoy, you need to hire somebody that's really great there. If there's a task that you don't enjoy, but you're really good at, you want to build a training process here. So you want to train somebody and hire them, and you teach them how to do it, and you hand this off. This is the area you want to stay within. If you're good at it and you enjoy it, this is where you focus. And then if you enjoy something and you're bad at it, again, you need to hire somebody. You can potentially have them train you how to do it if you want to be working on that aspect of the company, but that's really not where you want to be. You want to be in your zone of genius, something you're good at and you enjoy. Everything else you can start to hire and delegate away. You don't want to be stuck inside of this business. You want to be a CEO. You want to run the company, have a company that runs for you and not through you so that you can go on vacation with your family and you're not the typical entrepreneur that you hear of that's stuck working Christmas. That is not the dream. That's not why you got into this. So, I hope this is somewhat helpful for you. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I hope you like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.